the difference between someone, and I've coached more than 150,000 people at this point from all different backgrounds. So this has like a significant pool of data I'm sharing this from, just to like preface that for you guys. You're not like, okay, you actually buy into it. The difference between the people I've coached who have true success, and success to me isn't just money, it's
Right.
abundance.
Welcome to Your Yes Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle, educator, healer, speaker, guide, and fierce advocate for your yes. I help sensitive and successful men and women find, reclaim, and live from their full embodied yes. Through empowering you to understand your energetic hygiene, establish healthy boundaries, and heal your nervous system, you'll be able to create your yes-filled life and move through your days with more freedom, more ease, and more joy. You'll hear inspiring stories of people who found their full-bodied yes, thought leaders who pursued their own dreams and are living life on their terms, and learn new ways to find the courage, joy, ease, and freedom to more fully step into your yes-filled life. Say no to the good so you can say yes to the great. Join me on this journey to discover your yes-filled life. Whether you're looking to break free from the golden handcuffs, start a new business, find your dream job, or simply live with more intention and mindfulness, I've got you covered. Let's explore the possibilities together and make your dreams a reality. Ready? Let's do this. Let's get you to your yes-filled and welcome to Your Yes-Filled Life. I'm your host, Brenda Winkle. Today on the podcast, we have a special guest, Tiffany Carter, who is the host of the top 5 podcast, ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. Tiffany Carter is a former TV newscaster turned multi-millionaire podcaster and entrepreneur. She's someone who had all the odds stacked against her, being raised in a highly abusive household, and the complex PTSD she manages to this day as a result of the decades of trauma. Tiffany has made it her mission to be the voice for those suffering in silence and want to create a life of true emotional and financial freedom. She's well known for taking the mystery out of making big money online. Her specialty is teaching people how to monetize their passions, gifts, and expertise using the power of digital branding and content marketing. Tiffany is the host and founder of the top 5 podcast and famous business coaching academy, ProjectME with Tiffany Carter. Her Entrepreneur and Money Mindset podcast is enjoyed by millions all over the world. She's taught her proven online marketing and sales techniques to over 150,000 people worldwide, ranging from small business owners to multi-billion-dollar corporations. Her emotional-based sales techniques have generated over $220 million in sales transactions. Her bigger mission is to help rescue and rehabilitate women and children who have been sex trafficked. She donates a significant portion of her time and corporate sales to help build safe houses and empower women who've suffered trauma to find their voice and purpose in this chaotic world. Tiffany has been featured numerous times on NBC, CBS, and CNN. She is currently living on the ocean in Manhattan Beach, California, with her English bulldog, Chubbs. I am so excited to have you meet Tiffany Carter. Hi, Tiffany. Thank you so much for being here.
Hello. I'm thrilled to be here and have this conversation that I know is going to be exactly what people need to hear today.
Yeah, that's it, right? So we'll just jump in and I'm going to ask you one question, which is there one thing that you did or didn't do that has led to your yes-filled life?
Yeah, and it's not going to be probably what people expect to hear, which I'm sure that's why you have me on your show, is because it's not going to be anything basic. I had to learn this the hard way, like most things in life. It was me not telling people about my dreams and my visions and where I want to go. And the couple people I told, I mean, that was very privileged couple. I'll put it to you like that. Because
Hmm.
my problem was I get excited about dreams and what I want to do and what I want to build. And it could be in my personal life or professional life. And then I would want to talk about it and share it with people. But then those people project their own stuff back onto us. Oh, why would you do that? You're going to leave your corporate career? That's crazy. Like, are you having like a midlife crisis? Like, what's going on with you? Right. Like, and people have said that. I mean, there was not one person that was highly encouraging of me starting a podcast. Even people who were kind of like, they'd be like, oh, that's nice. Kind of like, oh, Tiffany's little hobby. And so when I stopped doing that and I became reliant on myself and my relationship to spirit, that's my guide, right? I don't need the validation or the kudos from outside of myself. It's enough that I want it, and I hold that very sacred.
That is such a powerful answer. And it's one that I know is going to resonate with the audience, because one of the things that comes up for my clients a lot of times is they get this big dream and then they go talk about it. And the next thing you know, just like you said, everyone's icking on their wow. And it's crushing.
Oh, crushing. You know, here's something funny. And this person is like, well, pretty well known now and as a podcast. And this person was, I would say, as a female in her specific industry, was successful at the time too. So I had a high respect for this person and what she's built. And she said to me, no one makes money podcasting. Total waste. That's why I won't do it. And that messed with me. Not
Mhm.
even people I like knew. It was from someone I didn't know, who I, at least on the outside, appears to be successful and
Mhm.
in kind of a similar genre as me. And then say that, and I go, oh. And I'm like, gosh, am I? It started just kind of made me question myself a little more. And thankfully, I still did it. And funny, this person has a podcast now, and this person's people have pitched her to be on my show many times. It's really funny how that works in life.
That's awesome. So I have to know, did you say yes?
Nope. Nope.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I wouldn't change my mind at some point. It just doesn't feel good to me now. And that is something I take everything through. And I think people get that. Does it feel good to me? Almost take it too literally. Cause I know, especially as like driven women, we're like,
Mhm.
well, feel good to me to be scared and be vulnerable and go do this thing. It doesn't feel good to me to post video. It doesn't feel okay. Like obviously we know like everything at all times in business and life, like it's not going to feel good to you. But what I mean by it is like checking in with your body more
Mhm.
so like, does this feel right to me? Maybe the better question versus feels good to me.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And, a lot of the things that I talk about on the podcast are tapping into that inner knowing and ways that we can feel into what's a yes feel like in the body? What's a no feel like in the body? And how do you know the difference? And that's really what you're pointing to is this a yes? And what's a yes today may not be a yes tomorrow. And the same thing with a no.
I asked myself this morning after not getting much sleep because the air conditioning's broken here. That's a whole nother saga. I do not like being hot,
Mm,
and I'm hot. I can't sleep. And that sleep is high priority to me for my mental health, among other things. I had a training appointment with my fitness trainer this morning. And I'm someone, I have an appointment. I don't cancel last minute. I show up early. I'm very respectful of other people's time, right? Because as I want my time to be respected. But I still had to check in with myself. My ego goes, you have to go. You've committed to going. That would be canceling at the last minute. That's not cool. You need to go because you need to move your body. Are you being lazy? All the stuff starts coming up in my mind. But I brought it back down to yes, but ultimately, does this feel good in my body? Does this feel right? No, it would have caused me more stress to be doing exercise on
mhm,
almost no sleep, right? And
mhm.
like forcing myself to do something that doesn't feel good. That actually sounds like punishment.
Yeah, it does.
And I
Did
didn't go.
Good for you for just honoring
And I'm a
what felt.
former exercise addict. So that had another layer there. where I went, that's taking care of myself is actually not going sometimes.
Mm-hmm. And you bring up an important point, that discernment between when am I honoring my system and when am I making an excuse?
Ooh, I love that. Right? Because we make an excuse of, I don't feel that great. I don't want to go for a walk. Like, I don't want to I don't want to run into people. So I don't want to go for a walk. That's an excuse for me. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like
Mm-hmm.
ultimately, when has a walk ever really been a bad idea? Right? Like for for all parts of your health, I'm just making an excuse because I want to isolate.
Right. Right. Yeah, that's so important. So a lot of the people that I work with, I teach breath work, I offer somatic coaching. And so they come to me for that purpose, but they're empathic entrepreneurs. And so the overlap between our audiences is you support business owners in creating the life of their dreams as you help them to monetize their gifts and talents online. And I was wondering, and this may be a bigger question than I even recognize. I was wondering if you have a sense of what kinds of things make a difference between somebody who's ultimately going to make it and be able to support themselves with their business and somebody who decides to go a different direction. Is self-care part of it, or what would you say? What would you say?
The difference between someone, and I've coached more than 150,000 people at this point from all different backgrounds. So this has like a significant pool of data I'm sharing this from, just to like preface that for you guys. You're not like, okay, you actually buy into it. The difference between the people I've coached who have true success, and success to me isn't just money, it's
Right.
abundance, is where they're living their life, their work supports their life, they have options, they truly have like freedom and delight and enjoyment in all of that. And the people who have that invest in the strategy and the mindset and the energy of it all.
Mhm.
And you can't have one without the other. I tried. I built my first business with just strategy and grit and hustle and force and knowledge and trial and error. And it was not pretty. It made me very sick. I almost was not on this earth anymore because I was so sick and
Mm.
overworking, overdoing, overgiving. It wasn't until I incorporated work like you do, somatic, like the deeper healing work, not just
Mhm.
not, and I have a therapist. I love talk therapy, but that's above the neck work. That only
Right.
goes so far. It's the work of the body, of working with that energy, of going through the resistances and the blocks and the stories that hold us back. Because I've watched people who are smart people, tenacious people, people of amazing businesses, people with amazing business ideas. And I hand them the strategy and the roadmap on a platter, but it's all their internal shit
Yeah.
that will sabotage the whole thing. The fear of being seen. What is someone going to think? The perfectionism. And then it's even deeper than that, right? Like when we start peeling back the layers, as I know you do with people, I'm surprised myself with my own work, what comes up.
Same.
Okay. Where I'm like, oh, I didn't know that was in there. Okay. That
Mhm.
makes a lot of sense. And to think we can do this on our own is that one of the biggest, most dangerous lies we can tell ourselves. And I've told myself that many times. I can figure it out on my own. Okay, yeah, I get it. Like I'll read a book on it, I'll listen to podcasts on it. Sure, you can do that, but is that really going to get you where you want to go? Like, how are you stacking the odds in your favor of succeeding? Are you stacking a couple bricks? Are you stacking 10? Where are you at? And you have to be honest with yourself. Sometimes I'm not stacking that many bricks, and then I have to be honest and go, oh, well, that makes sense why I'm not getting the results I want. Because
Right.
we can go into like a pity party. Oh, this isn't working. I'm not getting clients. I still have anxiety. I'm not losing weight. Okay, well, let's take a little inventory.
Mhm.
How much have you really invested in time, energy, money, in your heart to getting what you want? And usually the answer is, oh, that's a fair point. Not very much, right?
That's
Because
right.
what we focus on grows. So if you're only putting 10% of energy towards something, or some weeks it's 50, another week it's 10, one week it's 40, it's all over the place. Well, your results are going to be that way.
Absolutely. And I was just kind of inventorying my own history, my own journey as you were saying that. And I started a business in 2005. I've owned a variety of businesses. And what you said, I was like, yes, yes, and yes, because I was doing it all on my own. I was getting frustrated and burned out, and it felt like I was hitting my head against the wall. And it wasn't until I got support that things actually started to move. So I love that you highlight that. And you offer a ton of resources. I binge your podcast on a regular basis. And so I know that you have a lot of different things that can support people. Do you want to talk about that?
Well, what I say to people is, and I give in my content real high value stuff to take away the excuse of, I don't know where to go. I don't know how to start. You binge my podcast, Project Me with Tiffany Carter, and you actually implement what I teach in there, you will have results. Same with binging my videos on Instagram or on TikTok, being in my emails. Like, there's no way you can't. But the problem is most of us don't follow through.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because you're lazy. It's not because you're this unfocused mess of a person. It's human nature. We have a lot going on and we have to be held accountable. And a lot of times people need a more customized approach. They need to put more skin in the game. There's nothing like spending money and having like an appointment with someone. You have to
Mm-hmm.
show up, or
That's
like
right.
you're kind of a jerk, or you're a jerk to yourself or to them or both, or you're wasting your money.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So you've got to have something on the line. And that's why, as obviously I have a podcast, but like that alone isn't enough for like 99.5% of people.
I would agree. Absolutely agree with that. There's something you said recently, and I'm not going to get exactly the wording that you said, but you talked about how important it is to continue to show up and to not do things simply because you feel like it. And you were talking about creating a certain podcast episode or content on TikTok, and you were saying you promised yourself you were going to show up, and then you showed up, even though it was a hard thing for you to do. And I admired that so much. And I was thinking about how it feels in my own body when I show up for myself and when I do the things that I say I'm going to do. Is that something that you had to learn to do? Or was that something that you're just wired to do?
Almost everything I had to learn to do, because I'm a survivor of severe abuse. So I was taught to only do whatever the narcissist wanted me to do in every possible way at any given time. And then I went into my adult life and attracted more people like that, bosses, friends, boyfriends, right? And it kept getting reinforced and reinforced until I really, hit a bottom in my life. And I had to be in so much pain to really learn how to show up regardless. For me, what's on the line is safety and security.
Mm-hmm.
I never want to feel trapped. I was trapped in childhood. So for me, that core, when you peel it back, it's I don't want to feel trapped. And so that's what gets me to show up. 70% of the time, I don't want to do anything. That's just my personality. I'm not a type A person. I'm a type C for chill. I like diddling around the house. Like, I don't even know what's happening most of the time. Like, I like that life, but I also want the results that I want. I want the feeling that you mentioned of like, it does feel good and self-honoring when you show up and follow through.
Mm-hmm.
And I like that feeling. And also, it's not the money. It's deeper than money. It's what money represents for me. You make enough money, you have a lot more options, period.
Mm-hmm.
That's facts. It's undeniable facts. I like that because it makes me feel free, which is the opposite of trapped.
That's right.
Right. And so, and I want to work for myself and maintain my own schedule. Right. Because that's freedom for me. So
Mm-hmm.
I have to show up or I'm going to have to work for someone else. And that is not happening. Like
I'm with
ever.
you there. I'm with you there. Oh my gosh, I love this. And you're pointing to something. I'm having a realization as you're talking. And what I'm hearing is not only the freedom, but agency and choice. And that when we can claim that agency and choice in our actions, that creates the sense of safety because we're the ones choosing it. I love that you pointed to that because I too share a background with abuse and carried that abuse in relationships that I chose even into adulthood as I chose my partners and even some friends. And so now, as I think about what really lights me up, and I show up even when it's not convenient, even when I don't feel like it, even when there's 100 reasons why I shouldn't, what you just said made a light bulb just pop up above my head because I'm getting to choose.
So for you, when we peel it all back, it's you must have choice because there was a point in your life where you did not feel you had choices.
That's right. Yeah,
I
exactly.
love that this came up. And that's when people, you might, like a lot of people, I wouldn't have, if someone asked me this, like in my 20s, I wouldn't have had an answer, right? Like you have to really spend, some time with yourself and really, and likely have help with someone getting you there and peeling that back on what is really the core, right? Like
Mhm.
for you, you have to have choices. Well, to have more choices, you have to make money,
That's right.
right? Like you you have to make money, period. And ideally, you have more choices, right? When you work for yourself versus someone else.
Yes.
So it's like if you want to have choices, then you have to show up on the days that you don't feel like it. Not if you're obviously like super sick. That's not what I'm saying. But all the days where you could really lean into an excuse. Well, if you want what you say you want those choices.
That's
You
right.
it's the compound effect that gets you the results, right? Meaning it's the compound effect that makes you the big money with passive income like investments.
Mhm.
And it's like you've got to be donating to the bank of yourself every single day by doing something. Some days I'm 5%. Some days I'm 90%, which is amazing. That's rare. That's when I think I'm going to be on the cover of Forbes. Like
I
that's
love
that's
that.
like that's a great day. A lot of times it's like 40%, but I still show up at whatever capacity I can in a day and trust that that's more than enough. And it is more than enough. I'm evidence of it. A lot of
Yeah.
people assume when they like listen to successful people, and we do it in all areas of life. I do it with people with relationships. I make up stories. Oh, they must do this in their relationship. I don't know
Mhm.
these people. Right. So people make up stories about me. She must be super focused, super type A, super disciplined, super well connected. She has a rich husband. People come up with all sorts of stuff versus believing it's possible for you just as you are right now.
Mhm.
It really is. It's possible just as you are right now, all the flaws, all the things, and showing up and the best you can on any given day is enough. The problem is that most people don't show up every day for themselves.
I see that in my work too. Yeah. It's the showing up. So one of the things that comes up for people that I work with is prioritizing other people over themselves. I work with empaths and I know that you're an empath as well. And so I would love your take on this just as a fresh perspective. Like how do
Yeah.
you yeah.
So showing up in basically this big scary world as an empath
Yeah,
when all
and
you really want to do is like hide.
exactly, exactly.
It is scary, especially now. There's so much intensity, and I require for myself extra quiet time, extra alone time, extra nurturing, extra water, even. I
Mhm.
require all of that in order to maintain, a peak state of mind in order for my own well being. And therefore, if you're feeling exhausted as an empath, kind of, I call it cunty with a K, like cuntiness, like I don't want to talk to people, snappy, resentful, jealous, any of those feelings, you've got energy leakages and boundary leakages. It is a red flag. You've got to tighten up those boundaries. And let me tell you, the more, I guess you could call it like, I don't know, successful and emotionally and energetically like evolved you become. So you're really fine tuning that empath side. The tighter your boundaries have to be, or you'll go down quick, like fast.
Like ball of fire, fast.
Yes, like a ball of fire. Like, so it's almost strange because it's like the more work you're doing, like with someone like you know, and someone's doing deeper like money healing work with me, it's like that more work you're doing, you would think like, oh, I'd have more capacity to like, I can just, you know, give here and give there and spread the love. No, you have to actually tighten up even more your boundaries because your energetic force is so powerful. You'll have people so magnetized to you that if you don't do that, you'll suffer a big consequence. And some people listening are right now, and they're just thinking, my guess is thinking it must be because I'm a highly sensitive person. I'm an introvert. I'm an empath. And yes, like, I'm not here to say like being an empath has amazing gifts, but it can be tiring. Like,
that's right.
It straight up, like it can be tiring. I want to hide a lot of times. I wish I wasn't so sensitive because being an entrepreneur and an empath, that is not like a normal match. Like it really is not, right? Like think about it. You have to fire people. You have to have tough conversations. You've got to, you know, you've got to deal with this shifting and this changing. And then just when you feel like everything's going well, then you get hit over here and knocked around here. We don't just brush things off as easily.
No, we absorb it unless we learn how to deflect it.
And if I didn't learn that, thank God, and I'm still learning. I'm going to be a student my entire life in this because it's so important. If I don't protect my energy and then, like you said, like have a way of deflecting it and removing it and coming back to like, is it like homeostasis type state, like a regulated state daily, like multiple times a day, literally.
Yeah.
I don't think I would be here. Truthfully, this is how important like work is at healers like you do. I don't think I would be here. Because talk therapy, I have a therapist. That's not enough. I'm medicated. It's not enough. It's this deeper, it's the body work, it's the energy work. And then when you add the layers of being a survivor and an empath and all these things on top of it, this world is a lot for us. But on the positive, the most successful, potent, powerful, magnetizing, life-changing, best coaches, teachers, practitioners, entrepreneurs I've ever coached and ever met and ever hired and ever worked with are empaths.
And that's why I'm so lit up about this purpose, because empaths have something so special and unique that it makes me think we've got to get more entrepreneurial empaths.
But it's scary for an empath because it's like, I didn't want to be an entrepreneur either. I was like, this shit looks crazy. I didn't want to do it because obviously I was also programmed and taught like what's safe is like the corporate life, but that was actually making me sick. But I, you know, was programmed. So I thought that was safe. It seemed far scarier and more exposing as an empath doing my own thing. But in fact, that is actually what set me free.
I would agree. I felt like 1 foot in, 1 foot out on my entrepreneurial journey. I was like part-time and then full-time employed by a school district and sort of, you know, walking on two sides of the fence. And then I realized that it was actually harder for me as an empath to work for the school district than it was to work for myself, and to be able to set my own boundaries and to be able to say no and to have the tough conversations around hiring and firing and those kinds of things than it was to work for an organization that didn't feel aligned with my core values.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm sure when you were in it and thinking about transitioning and leaving, you had all sorts of stuff come up about, but this is a paycheck I can depend on. And this is my benefits, the
Totally.
classic benefits line. I gave myself that line. Then now I laugh because it really amounts to, even if we're being very exaggerating on benefits, okay, I'm talking top tier and you have a family, it's $2,000 a month. Top tier.
Like the gold plan.
I'm talking like ridiculous. Most no one needs that. I'm talking dental, vision. I'm talking all of it. It's $2,000 a month. It's really the average is like 600 to 800 if you have a family. But like I used to say that what about the benefits?
Me too. What about the retirement plan?
Yes, the retirement plan. It was like, what is happening? I mean, but it's also a testament though that when you hear something enough and you see it enough, we just take it on as this is true.
Right. That's right.
Like, this is the safer way. Well, obviously not if you're not happy there, right? There's a lot of people who work in the school district, who work in pharmaceuticals, which is what I used to be in, who talk about, wow, that was an unsafe career, right? Being in that kind of a profession and state and what's going on. And it's like, there's a lot of people who are in it and they genuinely love it. That's fine, right? Not being an entrepreneur isn't for everybody. But if that is not your thing and you continue to force a square peg into a round hole, your body is going to give out. And I'll tell you, when it starts giving out, some people are lucky it gives out sooner, because I think it's actually fortunate when it happens, because that's what wakes you up, is the body stuff. Typically, like your energy is depleted, you're gaining a lot of weight, you're sick all the time, like, right? Like, because it's pain is what motivates us to change. And
Absolutely.
the wheels for me, girl, those started falling off that bus at 35.
Oh,
right. That was about as long as my body, that engine I have being on the highest gear, revving at the highest RPMs could take.
I made it to like, I'd have to do the math, and I probably 43. And then
that's impressive.
The wheels fell off.
Yours fell off hard.
Fell off hard. Yeah. Like hospital.
Yes. Oh, so, okay. So
yeah.
You might have happened later for you, but yours was like a true drop off.
My wheels might have been falling off slowly for years, and I just kept saying, it's fine. We've got duct tape. We can make it work.
That's exactly what I did. I was like, and then other people I was surrounded with, that was fine for them too.
That's right.
And right. And then we would all kind of go, oh, I'm so exhausted. So that was like this weird common bond of who's more exhausted, who's had more to do, who has to work. And so then it seemed normal, but it's actually not normal. And now the conversations I have with the people I'm around are like what you said. How does this feel in your body? Like, I could call a friend and I'm very upset about a situation going on in my house right now, and it's bullshit. And I was like, I'm not sure what to do, and I'm really upset. And how does this feel in your body? No one in my life would have ever asked me that before, because I wasn't checking in with my own body. I didn't know to do that.
Right.
So I didn't have other people around me. I had a version of myself, because like attracts like.
Right. Exactly. Right.
And so now it makes it so much easier, because I have the support of, everyone in my life is an empath, because we just understand each other.
It's so much easier.
It's so much easier.
Yeah.
And then what I love is so great. And I even have like people in my audience who do it, people in my posse membership who do it, where they'll DM and say, I really just had a strong feeling to reach out to you, and I want you to know like how appreciated you are and that you're incredible. And then I'm like, obviously you're an empath and you're spot on, and I appreciate it. How beautiful is that? Like, that's why empaths are amazing, because we use those gifts to support our people, right?
That's
but we
right.
have to manage this gift. It's a very sensitive, volatile gift.
That's right. It really is. And one of the things that kept me from embracing my empath abilities fully was fear of leaving everyone else behind. Did you have that come up for you?
I don't have that many people to begin with, especially then. I have one living relative who's my mom, who's a narcissist I'm no contact with.
Hmm.
So mine was a little different. It was more about I didn't want to be alone.
Yeah.
So I was afraid if I let go of those people who really didn't fit this Tiffany 2.0, whatever anymore, like they probably never did fit. I was just kind of making them fit and didn't realize
Hmm.
how draining it was, or, that kind of a thing. I was afraid if I said no and released people, places, and things that were no longer serving me, I would be left abandoned and alone.
Hmm.
So it was more about me having nothing and nobody around me than me being afraid of leaving other people behind.
Hmm. And that hits for me too. Being alone. I'm single. I've been single for a long time. And as I really embrace the entrepreneurial lifestyle, I'm the only person in my whole family, like extended family too, that's an entrepreneur. And so I was really on a new train track. And so I was worried about what will they like, will I be leaving them behind? Will I be all alone in that? But you know what? I found that there are a whole community of people that are just like you and I that are waiting for other people to join.
And we don't think there are, because that's how empaths think,
That's
right?
right.
We
That's right.
think we know we're like unique, and I don't mean in like an egotistical way. We know we're different. We
That's
felt
right.
different in school. I
Mhm.
always knew. And then I would have people say, well, no one has ever asked that question before. I got kicked out of my mom put me in a Sunday school, which is hysterical in of itself, because so she could meet men. Okay. But I got kicked
Oh.
out of Sunday school because all my friends, I was brought up in like a big Jewish population, and I love my Jews. And so I was asking questions like as though I was Jewish. Like I didn't know, but I was curious. So I got kicked out of, and for asking questions and like not liking how something felt. Something would feel off to me or like bullshitty to me. And so like I would call that out, right? Like I didn't know. And it can feel and it can train us to be like, you're different, you think different. Even
Mhm.
people in your family might go, oh, that's Brenda. She's a little wackadoo, right? I mean,
That's right.
and it's like, and now someone's like, well, yeah, Tiffany's a little, she's definitely thinks differently. And I embrace it. This is also why I'm so successful.
That's right.
I am unwell in the mind. Like I think very differently. I know that. But when you embrace that about yourself instead of like minimizing it, kind of compartmentalizing it, diminishing it, and you nurture it,
Mhm.
girl, I'm telling you, if you want, it might not interest you, but if you want like big success financially or big success in impacting people and helping people, that is a that is the path.
That is the path. Yeah. Yeah, I have a group. It's my group coaching program called Second Chapter, and I tell them all the time, one day, one day, this second chapter group is going to impact millions of people. So just enjoy it while it's small, because it's not going to be small forever or for very much longer.
I love this. That's great manifestation. You must be listening to my podcast. I
I
love that.
do.
And you're saying it with conviction. This is without a doubt. And you're not putting a timeline. I know this is happening. Whatever happens with the divine,
Mhm.
and in the best order and the perfect timing for all is going to happen. And you're committed to showing up regardless for it,
That's right.
whether you feel like it or not.
That's right. And then following the breadcrumbs, which sometimes the breadcrumbs look like breadcrumbs and sometimes they don't. You're successful on paper, but you don't always feel that way. Maybe right now you feel like success comes at the cost of your inner peace. Maybe right now you finish a day of work looking forward to spending time with your family, only to find yourself completely overwhelmed and losing your patience, and then exploding like a volcano at the end of the night. Perhaps you feel like the weird one, maybe in your family or your workplace. You felt like the weird one growing up, and you wonder when it's going to be your turn to be taken care of. You sometimes wonder why no one is anticipating your needs, or when they do, you burst into tears with relief. Maybe right now your loved ones don't understand how deeply you feel things or why certain things matter to you so much. They tell you to let it go, but you literally don't know how. Maybe right now you either turn to people pleasing simply for relief, or you find yourself self isolating so you don't have to feel at all. You may not even realize that's what's happening until you're doing it. Perhaps right now you love and care so deeply about people that setting boundaries feels really hard. You can feel their emotions when you set a boundary so acutely that sometimes it makes you wonder if it's even worth it. And perhaps right now you struggle to discern other people's opinions, perspectives, views, and preferences from your own because you feel their resolve and emotions so strongly. And maybe you want to have more access to your own intuition and inner knowing. And perhaps you feel distracted. You don't know how to prioritize tasks or set boundaries around your time without making your business feel like your 9 to 5. Perhaps you confuse external validation for worthiness and you fight the urge to make other people happy at the expense of what feels right for you. And I bet right now you've done the inner work. You've gone to therapy. You've invested heavily in yourself and you're very good at what you do. You enjoy success, but you wonder how long you can keep this going. And sometimes right now, you probably struggle with internal boundaries and find it difficult to keep the promises you made to yourself. You find yourself prioritizing tasks for other people over what you need to do. And that affects your business, your health, and your relationships. But what if you could increase your income and impact with less stress by applying simple energetic shifts to your business and your life? What if you could get where you want faster, collapsing time through the power of energetic calibration with someone who understands your empathy and compassion? What if you could stop trying to figure it out on your own? No more having to binge podcasts, bouncing from free challenge to free challenge, or searching Google for hours. What if you could gain the confidence and clarity to be more visible, to set healthier boundaries, to be more present in your business and your personal life? What if you could let go of people pleasing without guilt and increase your self worth, deepening your awareness of what's important to you so that you can live congruently to your values and finally stop the negative self talk? What if you could take on less emotion and energy from others so that you felt more vibrant and alive? You'll have energy left at the end of your workday to take your kids to Froyo and talk to each other about your day. What if you could increase access to your intuition, discerning intellect from intuition so that you can confidently make decisions that you know are best for you and your business without overthinking? What if you could understand the energetics of your business and how your energy is innately connected to the impact and income of your business, and improve every relationship by healing your triggers from trauma or inner child wounds? Imagine knowing how to stop taking on energy and emotions that aren't yours. You'll have less exhaustion and easier decision making. Imagine maintaining your deep love and care for people while being able to set the boundaries you know you need to set. And imagine being able to discern between your emotionality and the emotionality of the people around you. Imagine clearing your energy so that your business can grow in healthy and sustainable ways. If that sounds good, the Energetic Mastery Retreat for empathic entrepreneurs who own a service based business is right for you. This retreat is going to empower you to elevate your empathic abilities to a new level of mastery, enabling you to effectively harness and manage this innate power so that you can increase your income and impact and amplify your agency and sovereignty so that you can create the life you want without the guilt while maintaining your deep compassion and care. And you'll be able to use your empathic abilities to fuel you by supporting you in more deeply connecting to yourself, to others, and to source. Your empathy doesn't have to suck. Your empathy can become your superpower and the key to the changes you want to make in your life. To learn more, visit the link in the show notes or go to brendawinkle.com/energetic. Registration ends on September 15th, 2024. There are only 5 spots left. If you even think there might be a chance one of those spots should be yours, go check out the link, brendawinkle.com/energetic right now. You know what I mean?
I do know what you, sometimes they look like poison. Like poison pellets. You're like, well, I can't pick that up. I might die.
That's right. That's right. And how do you know the difference? How, when it looks like a poison pellet and you're like, it looks scary, feels scary, and yet there's something about it that's so intriguing. How do you discern?
I have a great example of this. In 2021, I knew I had to leave my partner and that house. And this is a very good man. This is not an abusive thing. It was a lack of growth. Okay. And you can't make someone grow. You just can't. And believe me, I spent years trying. It took me 2.5 years to leave. It's much easier to leave someone who's a jerk. And I was slowly dying.
Mm-hmm.
I knew it and I saw it and I knew I had to do it. I was terrified. I had the money. It wasn't a money issue. I have the competency, like logistically. I do not have children. Okay. Like there were so many things that you could go, well, God, it'd be easy. I use that to shame myself. There's women that want to leave, their partner and they have kids and they don't even have any money. And then they figure out how to do it. And I'm not doing all this stuff. Right. And that sign, that inner guy kept going, you need to go. You need to go get a place on the beach.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I already have a mortgage. What do you mean I'm going to get a place on the beach? Like I'm going to have 2 houses and then this guy gets to stay in the house and then I'm going to go live in the beach. And so now I'm going to pay for 2 things. I'm like, I don't like, this is scary.
Mm-hmm.
Who am I to do this? It's not like I'm J-Lo. Like I make good money, but this is like, you've got to be super crazy baller to do that. And I kept hearing the message. The more I denied it, the more sick I got, the more depressed, the more weight I gained. I mean, it was not cute. I was slowly dying and I was terrified. And it was like picking up a giant bowling ball of poison. I felt like I was either going to blow up my entire life by doing this or something else was going to happen. And I did it. And literally, like the skies fucking parted. I mean, and it was, and I'm saying the price so I can make a point because you're going to go, oh my God, it was $17,000, $500 a month. Oceanfront rental. Okay. What's crazy? I used to make 17 grand a year. Like, and it's not like, I wasn't making what I'm making now. I was making more than enough money to pay for that. But like, it was very noticeable. It'd still be noticeable to me now. But I set myself up for the abundance. I had to say no and follow through with action on what was no longer serving me in order to rise to that next level of abundance that was there waiting for Tiffany to fucking do the thing. And I did the thing. I mean, opportunities, clients. I dropped all my pandemic weight. I mean, without me doing more, me having more fun, delighting in it, all of it. And that's why I still have a beach house now.
Oh my gosh.
That's why I still do it. It's like, but that was a boulder of poison. It looked like, and I couldn't tell anybody. I didn't feel I could tell anybody because that sounds crazy. It sounds crazy because first of all, they're like, well, Mike's a great guy. Like I knew it sounded crazy on so many different levels, but you know what? What was crazier? Staying somewhere where I was already stayed for 2.5 years, slowly losing my life force, or staying at that corporate job where I was basically a paid prostitute in the pharmaceutical world. Like, so what's crazier, staying and subjecting ourselves to that or taking that risk and setting ourselves free?
I love that story. I'm in the messy middle of a story just like that.
Oh, that's fun. I'm glad you heard the other side of this story.
Yeah.
Like what's waiting for you. That's interesting. divine timing that you're hearing that. Ooh, that messy middle's brutal. I
Oh,
call it
yeah.
the dirty diaper. It's rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been so interesting. I was guided about 18 months ago to give up permanent housing and to travel full time. And I ignored it, ignored it, ignored it. And the signs just got bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until it was like slapping me across the forehead. Like, you need to do this now. So in June, I let go of my townhouse and I packed up my car and my dog, and we've been floating around the country, just visiting family and visiting places and all the things. And in the meantime, the learning that I'm doing and the drop-ins that I'm getting and the expansion that's happening is absolutely mind-blowing. It's not always comfortable. It's not always easy, but I know that it's what I'm supposed to be doing.
And that's what we have to remind ourselves in the days where it just feels like too much and you don't want to do this anymore. And where's the escape hatch? We got to take a moment and pause and remind ourselves. But I followed the inner calling and the clear inner guide. And it wasn't like one hot minute of a message, it was repetitive, clear guidance to do this thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And I have to remind myself too. It's like I want to think if I'm on the right path, it's all breadcrumbs. There's no poison, right?
Right.
I want big, chunky breadcrumbs where they're undeniable, obvious, juicy breadcrumbs. Like I want some sourdough. Okay.
Oh, that's it. Yes.
And that is not the case, but of course, we want the path of least resistance. That's why we get sucked into get rich quick schemes, get skinny quick, this easy way out, release all your childhood wounding in one weekend. That's why we get, that's why we get I saw your face on that. That's why we get like attracted to that stuff
Mm-hmm.
because of course we want the path of least resistance with all the breadcrumbs, but
Mm-hmm.
that's just not how it works. We have to have the law of polarity. We have to have both sides.
That's right. That's right. That's amazing. Yeah, it's so good. The law of polarity. That's what informs our next choice, feeling and living into the contrast.
Yeah, we have to, because how do we know what would feel really good if we also don't know what feels really bad?
That's right.
In anything, in a friendship, in having an employee, in a client, working for someone, exercises in your body, right? Like we don't know what a hell yes is if we don't know what a hell no is. And the only way we can learn those, unfortunately, is by going through them, which I really don't enjoy that part. But like, what are you going to do? It's part of it.
It is. That's how you learn. And it just informs every choice after that. And it makes such a good story.
Yeah. And I feel it's important to normalize that for people, because in this world of all the online social media, you have people only in all specialties painting the fantasy marketing picture that
Mm-hmm.
it's all la-di-da, rainbows and sunshine all the time, and in every single area, business, healing, relationships. So then you start going, I must be doing something wrong because I have a lot of hard times here. No, you're doing it right.
Mm-hmm.
They're
That's right.
lying.
They're lying. There's no other way to say it. It's
They're
just a lie.
bullshit.
Yeah, that's
It's
right.
definitely a lie. Like I promise you, it's a lie. Like you're doing it right when you have a range of emotions going.
That's it right there. When you can feel all extremes of emotionality, you know you're on the right track.
Yeah.
And you said something really important a while ago that I just wanted to highlight, which is that the healing continues to happen. It's not like it's a box that's checked. It continues to happen. You continue to show up for it.
And the second you think, hey, I'm kind of coasting, I like where I'm at, then you are presented from the universe another layer, and it's usually a deep one
Mhm.
of stuff for you to work through. And you're like, oh God, I had no idea this was here. Well, we didn't know because all the other layers had to go first, and you had to be in a certain space in your life to feel safe and feel supported, maybe in order to deal with this stuff. That's why, like, as someone who is a trauma survivor of sexual abuse, my body was frozen. It was frozen in time. It came out in waves
Mm-hmm.
in working through that, right? Because our systems know how much it can handle at a time. And there were so many other layers that even some still come out today, right? Like,
I find that too for myself. Like,
and sometimes I'm shocked. Like, I'm really getting now how my physical body inflammation, there's a tie to needing to self protect
mm,
from the abuse. Like, that was my recent epiphany. And
that's
I was
big.
like, okay. And I said, I see, I get that. Right. Like, kind of a body's version of creating padding, like a
That's
stay
right.
away.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes sense. And it's like, I've been going to therapy for 20 years. I was inpatient. I've done art therapy, equine therapy. I've been held like a baby in the water. I've done a ton of hypnotic work, breath work, plant medicine. I've done all of it and going to continue
Me
because
too.
what's the alternative? I don't think we really have a choice now. I mean, I'm way too far in it at this
Oh,
point.
me too. And I'm not going back. So
Mm-mm.
I'm only going forward and I'm here for whatever that looks like.
Yeah, and that's a question for you guys to ask. Am I showing up for the life I want, or am I making a choice to kind of settle for what I've got right now? And
Mm,
only you can answer that. And then the next question to ask is, what does it look like to show up for the life I want? Like, what does that type of person look like?
mm-hmm.
And it's hard to do that with yourself. It's tough. It's not really a fun, because usually it's that, you're required to do things that are vulnerable, awkward, new, uncomfortable. They feel risky. They feel scary. So you either have to let go of your desire that you want and genuinely make peace with it and surrender it for now, or you gotta get out of purgatory and start showing up for the life that you want. Otherwise, ooh, does it burn so much energy and time? It's such a waste.
Mm. That is just a mic drop moment right there. Yeah, that was so good. That's right. Are you showing up for the life that you want? It's a beautiful question to ask. Tiffany, you're exquisite. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. That's nice to hear. This was lovely. This is such an important conversation, and I'm appreciative that you make the space and you show up so that people can hear this.
Thank you. And thank you for being here. And if you haven't yet followed Tiffany, go follow her on Instagram. And I'll put the links in the show notes and go check out her podcast, Project Me with Tiffany Carter. And is there anything else that you'd like people to know before we close?
I would also say if you like TikTok, I have really great content over there as well. And I'm also at Project Me with Tiffany. And I would say, like, share this episode with someone. If it resonated with you, trust that it will resonate with someone else. And all the different ways to work with me, learn more from me are all in my bio on Instagram and TikTok. And, like, pay this forward. If this really sat with you, sometimes the best nuggets I've gotten are when a friend or even an acquaintance, I've even had a neighbor once think of me and send me a book or a podcast or an article. Use that empath side of you. If
Mm-hmm.
you feel there's someone who needs to hear this, like, follow through on it. That's the best thing you could do to pay this forward.
I love that. Follow the nudge. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Tiffany.
Bye.
Isn't Tiffany incredible? I absolutely loved this conversation. I had so much fun talking with Tiffany, and she really got my brain moving in new directions. I wasn't expecting, and I absolutely loved it. I got so much out of this episode and hope that you did too. If you loved this episode, would you please take a picture of whatever you're doing right now and then tag Tiffany and I on Instagram. Tiffany's there at ProjectME with Tiffany, and I'm at Brenda Winkle. We want to know what your favorite part of this episode was. Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, would you please take 30 seconds and leave your 5-star rating and review? It would do more for the podcast than anything else except for this. Share this episode with someone you care about. Thank you so much for listening to Your Yes Filled Life. Bye for now. Until next time.